18 hours until the massacre at Ffirth Asylum. Amy wasn't sure if she had been more freaked out about the crazy bustle of the campus earlier in the week, or the ghost town that it was now. Campus had emptied. Everybody had left to go back home to Mom and Dad, scared the university would get swallowed up in the expanding quarantine zone. Well, those who had parents anyway. That morning, Amy wound up spending a solid hour just trying to get dressed, standing in the guest room at the house where she was now holed up, a huge old house occupied by 3 gay guys she had met in a pottery class. The guest room was just a converted attic covered in Bollywood movie posters and full of discarded exercise machines that each had once starred in their own infomercial. The hour was spent almost entirely standing over her suitcase in her underpants, trying to figure out what would be practical to wear in this situation. After imagining 100 different scenarios for what they'd see once they got down there, she finally realized that the quarantine staff would probably seize everybody's clothes and give them hospital pajamas or something. So the best bet was to wear something she didn't care about, losing to an incinerator. So then she was running late, and still had to go to the drugstore. She'd been avoiding it all week because she thought it'd be a madhouse like everything else, but it, like everything else, was eerily empty. Also empty? The shelves. There were handmade signs everywhere about per-customer limits. She wanted to get both of her prescriptions filled, but they were out of oxy and could only do a partial refill of the muscle relaxer. She tried not to let the guy at the counter see how much this freaked her out, doing the math in her head to see how long the painkillers would last until she was basically flat on her back and unable to stand up. Answer, 9 days. Then again, the quarantine would be full of doctors, so they probably had all kinds of stuff there. She bought nasal strips, couldn't sleep without them. She wanted some over-the-counter allergy pills, all gone. She looked for antacid tablets for David. All those were gone, but they had some tropical-flavored Tums that even in emergency nobody would buy. Tampon aisle was bare. She also noticed the condom case was empty, though she figured that was a little too, optimistic anyway. She did successfully get some sensitive teeth toothpaste and the one brand of deodorant that she didn't give her a rash. Finally, the candy aisle. Twizzlers were gone, but she did get some Red Vines, which were basically like stale Twizzlers. She could have kept going around and around the store for the rest of the day thinking about things she and David might need, but she was already running late, and if John arrived at the meeting site to find she wasn't there, he might freak out. In her message, Amy had told John to pick her up at a bus stop in front of a huge Mexican restaurant that was impossible to miss. She took only one change of clothes, her bag full of pharmacy stuff, and her pillow, with her back the way it was. The pillow was a necessity. She could not sleep on any other pillow. They could have everything else. They could send her into quarantine wearing a potato sack, but they weren't getting the pillow away from her. She got to the bus stop at 3 minutes until 11, and saw the white Bronco round the corner right at 11 on the dot. She took a deep breath and said a prayer.